In a peaceful little village tucked at the edge of the cloverleaf forest lived a playful golden puppy named Puffy. Puffy was the kind of pup who chased butterflies, rolled in grass for no reason at all, and barked at the wind just to see if it would bark back. Every morning, he woke up with a wag so strong it wiggled his whole body. But among all the wonderful things in his puppy world, Puffy had one treasure he loved above everything else: his bone. It wasn't just any bone. It was big, smooth, and shiny, half white, half honey-colored from the way he had licked it over and over. Puffy found it one day buried under an old oak tree, and from the moment he dug it up, he decided that it was his bone forever, and no one else could touch it. He carried it everywhere. When he slept, the bone rested beside his paw. When he played, the bone lay close enough that he could glance back every few seconds to make sure it was still there. When he ate his breakfast kibbles, he placed the bone neatly at his left side, just in case another creature got any ideas. Puffy didn't live alone. The little farmhouse where he grew up was filled with animals who loved him, sometimes more than he understood. On the fence sat Clucks, a feathery red chicken with the fluffiest tail and a personality much bigger than her size. She strutted around like she owned the place, sometimes clucking advice to anyone who would listen. Beside the barn lived Maury, a gentle brown cow who chewed grass slowly and talked even slower. She was wise, calm, and liked to hum soft cow melodies at sunset. Down by the hay bales lounged Toby, an old sheepdog with 2 gray patches over his eyes. Toby never hurried. He moved like time itself had slowed down just for him, but whenever something important happened, he always noticed first. And then there was Binky, a tiny bunny with long ears, a snow-white coat, and a hop that could bounce all the way onto Puffy's back. Binky was Puffy's closest friend. They played hide-and-seek, chased dragonflies, raced across the field, everything except share the bone, because Puffy simply wouldn't. Most of the time, Puffy loved his friends. But when it came to his bone, well, Puffy's kindness shrunk like a puddle in the summer sun. One sunny morning, Puffy woke up from a dream about rolling down a hill made of pillows, with his precious bone in tow, of course. He stretched, yawned, and reached for it. It wasn't there. His heart jumped. He looked left. He looked right. He looked under his belly. He even checked his tail, which made no sense but seemed like the right thing to do in a crisis. My bone. Puffy squeaked. Where's my bone? He sprinted out of his little doghouse, ears flapping wildly in the wind. His nose twitched in every direction. He sniffed the grass, the side of the food bowl, the wooden post, the air, nothing. Then he saw something horrific. Clucks the chicken standing near the barn, pecking the ground. And next to her, something long, something smooth, something bone-shaped. Puffy gasped loud enough to scare his own shadow. Puffy darted toward Clucks so fast that he kicked up a dusty trail behind him. Clucks, you took my bone, he barked dramatically. Clucks blinked, offended. Excuse me. I'm pecking for corn kernels, not bones. Why would a lady like me want your old chew stick? Puffy didn't listen. He zoomed past her, snatched the bone from the ground like a lightning bolt, and hugged it protectively. I knew it, he growled. Everyone wants my bone. The commotion drew the attention of Maury the cow, who lumbered over, chewing slowly. What's all this moo nonsense? She asked. Before Clucks could answer, Puffy snapped, I have to guard my bone. No one can touch it. Ever. Maury frowned. Sharing is caring, little pup. Not with bones, Puffy said firmly. Toby the old sheepdog wandered over, shaking his head. Puffy, lad, someone probably just bumped it while walking. And then Binky hopped in excitedly. Puffy, Puffy, did you want to play hide and... Puffy interrupted abruptly. No. I need to protect my bone. Binky's ears drooped like wet leaves. Puffy felt a tiny pang of guilt, but protecting his bone was more important than feelings, wasn't it? Or so he thought. From that moment on, Puffy acted like a knight guarding a treasure chest made of diamonds. When Clucks walked nearby, he growled softly. When Maury grazed too close, he barked. When Toby tried to stroll past casually, Puffy positioned himself between the dog and the bone. When Binky hopped by, Puffy yanked the bone away dramatically. Soon, Puffy realized something strange. The farmyard felt quieter and lonelier. He noticed his friends had started to whisper to each other at the far side of the barn. When Puffy approached, they stopped talking. When he ran toward them with his bone in his mouth, they scattered like frightened birds. At first, Puffy thought, good. No one will sneak up on my bone. But slowly, that thought didn't feel so good anymore. Because no one invited him to chase dragonflies. No one asked him to play tug-of-war. No one asked him to race. No one even asked him how his morning nap went, and Puffy loved telling everyone about his naps. He spent the whole afternoon sitting alone near a tree, chewing his bone. But chewing wasn't fun when no one was around to admire how skillfully he did it. That evening, the sky turned dark. Thick, gray clouds rolled in like a giant blanket covering the world. Maury muttered, "Storm's coming." Rain poured heavily, like someone had tipped the sky's biggest watering can. Puffy hurried into his doghouse, but the wind blew so hard that the little house shook. Puffy clutched his bone tightly and whimpered. Outside, thunder cracked like giant drums. He wanted someone to talk to. He wanted Cluck's bossy scolding. He wanted Maury's slow, comforting voice. He wanted Toby's wise advice. He wanted Binky's warm hop hugs. But no one came, because Puffy had pushed them all away. A small tear fell onto his bone. "I don't want to be alone," he whispered. After hours of shivering through wind and rain, Puffy finally fell asleep, hugging his bone like a pillow. In the morning, the storm had passed, and sun peeked shyly through the clouds. Puffy stretched and froze. His paws were empty. His bone was gone. His heart crashed into his stomach. "No, no, no, no." Puffy yelped. He burst out of the doghouse, frantically sniffing. The storm had scattered leaves, branches, even parts of the fence, but all Puffy cared about was that bone. He searched everywhere. Behind the barrels, under the porch, around the barn, in the muddy puddles. Nothing. His eyes stung with tears. "I've lost it. I've really lost it." That's when he heard soft footsteps approaching. Puffy. It was Binky. Puffy quickly wiped his tears. "Iambusse." Binky tilted his head. "Are you looking for something?" Puffy's voice cracked. "My bone. It's gone." Binky's ears drooped sympathetically. "We can help you look, you know." Puffy blinked. "You'd help me? After I was so mean?" "Friends still care," Binky said gently, "even when someone makes mistakes." Puffy swallowed hard. I don't deserve that." Maybe not yesterday, Binky said honestly. But today you can make things better. Puffy nodded slowly. Can you help me find it? Of course, Binky said with a smile. Before long, Binky brought Toby, Maury, and Clucks over. Puffy stood nervously in front of them. I'm sorry, he said quietly, for accusing you, for not letting you near me, for being selfish. Toby nodded. It takes courage to say that, lad. Clucks puffed her feathers proudly. Well then, let's help the puppy find his precious chew stick. Maury added, We are your friends. Friends help. Puffy felt warmth spread through his chest, warmer than the sun after the storm. The friends formed a search team. Toby sniffed along the fence line. Binky hopped through shrubs. Clucks pecked around muddy spots. Maury scanned from above with her tall height. Finally, Binky shouted, I found something. Everyone rushed over. There, half buried in mud near the stream, was the bone. But when Puffy looked at it, his heart didn't leap the way it used to. Instead, he looked at his friends, wet, tired, muddy from searching for something that wasn't even theirs. Without thinking, Puffy nudged the bone toward them. Thank you, he said softly. You found it, and I want to share it with all of you. His friends exchanged surprised glances. Are you sure? Asked Binky gently. Puffy nodded firmly. A bone is nice, but friends are better. Puffy placed the bone in the center of the group. Clucks tapped it lightly with her beak. Maury sniffed it. Toby nudged it. Binky hopped around it cheerfully. Then Puffy sat down beside them. You know, he said, I used to think this bone was my whole world. But yesterday, when I acted selfish, my world got really small. Today, it feels bigger again. Toby smiled. Sharing tends to do that. Maury nodded. Makes hearts bigger too. Clucks clucked happily. And feathers fluffier. I think. Everyone laughed. Puffy added, From now on, I want to share. Not just the bone, but my games, my naps, and even my treats. Binky's eyes sparkled. Does that mean we can finally play with the bone together? Puffy nudged it toward him. First turn goes to you. And with that, the friends spent the whole morning rolling, nudging, and tossing the bone like it was the greatest toy in the universe. Puffy realized something wonderful. The bone was twice as fun when shared with 5 times as many friends. From that day forward, the farm returned to its old cheerful rhythm, but better. Puffy became the most generous puppy in the village. He shared not only the bone, but his space, his games, his discoveries, and even his favorite napping spot under the tree. And something amazing happened. Puffy made more friends, birds, goats, even a passing squirrel who visited daily for leftover crumbs. Because kindness travels fast, and word spread that Puffy had the warmest heart and waggiest tail in Cloverleaf Forest. Every night, Puffy slept soundly, knowing something he hadn't understood before. Treasures become more precious when shared with others. And friends are treasures too. And his bone, well, it still belonged to Puffy. But now it belonged to all of them a little bit. And that made it more special than ever. Thank you for watching. Like the video. Subscribe for more stories.